Good evening. Welcome to the Red Hook Town Board meeting of Tuesday, March 11th. Would you be kind enough to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much. For the folks watching at home, if you'd be kind enough to pan over to the screen, especially now while it's working. Tonight's meeting will include a brief presentation on the annual financial update for last year, 2024, basically just highlights. We're going to have continued discussion of the Community Choice Aggregation Program, a little update there, and some discussion about whether or not to continue the current contract period. Resolution to approve letting of bids for St. Margaret's parking lot. If you were watching our meeting last time at the end of February, we made some decisions about what type of surface there for the parking area in St. Margaret's. We are disposing of a surplus piece of equipment, one of many. This one we're going to sell to the Village of Tivoli, provided the board concurs. And then we're going to appoint not one, but two animal control officers tonight. And likely we'll go into attorney-client session tonight as well. We'll entertain a motion for that. That being said, why don't we get started with the supervisor's report, folks. Again, for the folks at home, first meeting of the month, excuse me, is an update of the financial condition at a particular moment in time. This is for the period ending January. And we have the variance report also for February. We started the month out with an opening balance of $8,811,000 and change, receipts of $3.731 million, and disbursements of $856,000. Leaves us with an ending balance of $11,686,634. This is the time of the year when we have our highest balance because we have collected property taxes through the end of February. We'll receive some more, they'll trickle in as time goes on, but essentially we've collected the majority of taxes coming for this fiscal year. We have some budget adjustments as proposed by our bookkeeper. And then the variance report, as I mentioned. Any questions? All of this is available on the town's website 24 hours in advance of the meeting, so you have time to take a look at it. Folks, if there are no questions, would anybody like to make a motion to approve the supervisor's report?
So moved.
Thank you, Bill. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Julia. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Alex, would you be kind enough to read for us the town clerk's report for the period February 1 through 28?
The town clerk's report for the period of February 1st, 2025 to February 28th, 2025. Total local shares remitted $6,247.48. Amount paid to New York State Agricultural Markets for Spay-Neuter Program, $30. Amount paid to New York State Environmental Conservation for hunting and fishing licenses, $14.16. Total state, county, and local revenues, $6,292.
Very good. And we also have vouchers.
I hereby certify the vouchers number 33,088 to 33,203, totaling $512,063.71, processed in the month of February 2025, are an accurate reporting of the abstracts provided for payment by the town board.
Thank you very much, Alex. Is there a motion to accept the town clerk's report?
So moved.
Thank you, Christine.
Second.
Thank you, Jacob. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, very good. Okay, moving right along. Announcements, a couple of announcements, school-related, high school and the Hardscrabble players present Bye Bye Birdie. And it is March 14th and 15th at 7 p.m., March 16th at 2 p.m. For those of you who are interested, having performed in that musical as a young man, I might just have to go see it to understand how it should have been done. Folks, it's that time of year. You could feel it today, especially. Spring is just around the corner. Don't be confused by the fake out we've had the last 48 hours. But it is coming soon, which also means all of our spring events. E-Waste Day, April 5th, Saturday, 8 to 1, highway parking lot. You'll enter in by the recycling center. You'll exit out this way through Town Hall. Arbor Day, every day is Arbor Day, but in particular Saturday, April 26th, 10 to 2 here at Town Hall. Get your saplings, your seedlings, whatever kind of lings they have going for that day. Repair Cafe continues, April 26th, the same day, 10 to 1 at the Red Hook Community Center. They're within about 1,000 feet of each other. You can rid yourself of something that needs to be repaired. Go pick up something that will grow in your garden and then come back and pick it up. Cleanup Day is the following weekend, Saturday, May 3rd, 1 to 4. You've never had so much fun as you can have when you walk the streets with us and get garbage bags and grabbers and pizza and ice cream and whatever else we offer. We have, I think now, our 5th, maybe, Drive Electric Vehicle Demonstration, Saturday, May 10th, with maybe a little emphasis on autonomous vehicles. So if you would like to hop in one of the EVs and watch it drive itself, I can tell you it's pretty amazing. The village has its Apple Blossom Day event, which is put on each year by the Red Hook Rotary, which turned 70 this year. That's Saturday, May 10th, 10 to 2 on the streets of Red Hook. And then when you are done with the flyer, and you will all receive a flyer in the mail, you can bring it Saturday, June 7th to Shred Day here at Town Hall. Just a reminder, we limit it to 3 legal boxes and we don't take any illegal boxes. Is that right, Christine? So if you want to get more specifics, log on to the website, redhookny.gov, calendar for rain dates or any other updates. And I think we had some VFW events also that we'll push out coming up. St. Patty's Day is just around the corner. They had a couple of events. Any other events folks want to remind people? If you live in a village, there are village elections, and that is Tuesday, March 20th.
18th.
Sorry, Tuesday, March 18th. Don't go vote on the 20th, you'll be upset at me. March 18th, village elections are from 12 noon to 9 p.m. Gives everybody an opportunity to vote, either during the work hours or afterwards. Very good. Any other announcements, folks? No.
I would just add that a lot of these spring events that you were talking about provide great opportunities if you're looking to get out and volunteer, or if you perhaps have young people in your life who need community service hours for one thing or another. There's lots of great opportunities, and we'd encourage you to reach out. We can connect you with the organizers.
It's hard to explain to people how much fun kids have doing street cleanup until you actually see them do it.
Yeah.
And they pick up the darndest things off of the road. Occasionally we get a couple of things that we can't even talk about picked up along the road. And then it's hard to explain to people how much fun seniors have at Shred Day, because they've been dying for the longest time to get rid of these documents, and there's an opportunity to finally do so. So we look forward to seeing you at whatever makes you happy. All right, public comment. Would anybody like to make public comments this evening? No, hearing none. Okay, very good. Let's dive into, we're getting graphics that are both exciting and also not visible. This is the 2024 New York State Comptroller Annual Report, just highlights. For the folks at home, I won't spend too much time, but just suffice it to say, 2024 was not that different from previous years. Where we ended is better than we might have either anticipated or hoped. We have a solid, slightly increasing fund balances, and yet we still have surplus assets associated with the Cookingham Farm acquisition properties yet to be disposed of. Our Community Preservation Fund is generating significant funding for future investments, and we have projects in mind and projects that we have verbal commitments towards, especially as it relates to establishing the waterfront park area in Barrytown. Old news, but once again, Standard & Poor's has reiterated our AA rating, and in 2023, which is the most recent year, despite all of these capital projects we've done, the Comptroller's Office has given us a fiscal risk score of a perfect 0, which means we have no financial risk. Of course, there isn't such a thing, but it's nice to have a perfect score, isn't it? While making community investments, you'll see all of them. These are just some of the main areas. I always like to focus on our clean energy investments because they're paying savings for us now that help us do other projects. Some of the grants that we've received, more that aren't even listed up here. End of year fund balances, so despite all of those projects and investments, we actually have slightly higher fund balances in our main funds, A. B is quite a bit higher, but it also includes some appropriated reserves. So we've got monies targeted for the creation of the sewer district, and DB has also increased in fund balance. Money set aside for firehouse expansion is also included. And here is the rather unusual in and out, but the revenue and expense summaries for the year, and you can see how we performed for that 12-month period. Here's a little more detail on the fund balances broken out in some of the reserve accounts so you can see what we have. Right now, we have in the CPF fund about $3 million. We also have incentive zoning fund has been returned to the tune of $535,000. So we've got the funding to do our projects that we need to as it relates to the waterfront properties. Unlike what you hear about and read about in Washington, with all of the funding that we've provided and all of the projects and expenses associated with that, we have a reduced debt balance. Here you see it starting in 2020 when we completed the complete Rec Park overhaul project. You see we had a starting balance back in 2020 at $5.3 million. We're, as of the end of 2024, down to 3.4, and you can see the schedule. If we were to assume no other debt between now and 2035, how we would reduce that. It's not likely that we won't take on more debt. Of course we will with a couple of these projects, but just to show the folks at home that we're doing all this work and actually reducing our debt, not increasing it. We like to show you pretty pictures because if we're gonna spend your tax dollars, the least we can give you is some pretty pictures to show you all that we've preserved. Here we are on both the south part of town, or southish, or in the north village, with the Cookingham on the right, and we have the Potts Stickle property. Many of you recognize the Hope signature sign on the barn there at the northern end by Tivoli. These are just examples of projects we've done. The trails, we're very excited about the trails, and again, thank you for those of you sending me selfies from Cookingham Farm Trails. Things are going quite well out there. Here's the overall map once again for the Cookingham Farm project. We will have, here's our trails map to show you what's in existence and more that's in the works. We'll be back in a few months talking to you about a new trail in the southern part of town. St. Margaret's, indoors it was uninhabitable, ceilings were about to collapse. We've done a ton of work. We've changed out a lot of the infrastructure, HVAC systems, upgraded the electric. Here's a sneak peek at what was dilapidated rooms, and you can see what a wonderful job our crew, our staff has done in restoring parts of it. You'll see the whole building, hopefully, in a couple of months. Design concepts for the affordable housing that is to come on Cookingham Farm, the 12 acres that was set aside. Some of the projects we've done more recently, Connector, Rick Park West. Expanded recycling, I'm not even sure we have compost in there. Yes, we do, okay. Dog park, we've made upgrades to the dog park. We had a falling down fence, we had no cans for the pet waste, we didn't have proper signage, the gates were all falling down and not working.
When we took it over, not that we let it get that way.
No, when we took it over.
Yeah.
We would never do that, Christine.
I just wanted you to be clear.
Yeah.
That we were not managing it.
We were not managing it at the time. Our infrastructure for the clean energy electrification transformation, which is happening. We have more charging stations in town than gas stations. We started off years ago with grant money to retrofit town hall with new insulation, heat pumps, generators for resiliency, street lights we own, saving money. And our final payment will be this year in 2025 on our street light project. And we will realize all those savings starting in 26, much of them anyway. Okay, highway garage, same thing, retrofit. We had an aging inventory of vehicles within the highway department, and suffice it to say, and this number is a little dated, we've transformed much of that department's equipment to be newer, better, and safer. Programming, one of the things that we had a lack of in this community is town-wide supported programming. Most folks may not realize it, but the town pays for the programming that runs through the Red Hook Community Center. We also obtained for them some grant funds, and we paid for the remainder of the generator. It has an office for aging site there, so obviously it's important that they have continuity of operations. Sidewalks was the very first out of 80 some odd capital projects that we were involved with here on the east side, and safe crosswalks as well. Lots of recreation, emphasis on all the community involvement. We could not have completed these projects without all of the efforts of folks. I think there's even a shot in here of our Lieutenant Governor in there helping out. recreation facilities upgrade to the almost professional field in the middle with professional lighting. We have new tennis courts, new basketball courts, and of course, we've talked about the pickleball people, we don't need to say any more. We've made all of our facilities ADA accessible, new parking, new bleachers, new security cameras to help make the park safer, kiosks, trails. Bridge projects, culvert projects, drainage studies, flood risks, analysis. We'll be going out to bid perhaps later this year on the Aspinwall Bridge, a rendering of which is here. We are going to, at our next meeting, likely let bids for the second community solar farm on the former mine section of the Cookingham property. Here's the first community solar behind the firehouse. It's quite a bit larger than what's proposed for Cookingham, but suffice it to say, important project. And all of this we want to communicate to you. So one of the first things we did years ago is to change the website so that we can send everything to you, all these documents, all these notifications. So you don't have to come here today, though we love seeing you. You can get all the information you need and updates from our town website or have it sent directly to you. We're increasing budgets for police and fire. And we are successfully reducing speed limits on the roadways that we can. We've taken over properties, and I think we've done a good job, our staff, of maintaining them. The Red Church Cemetery is a good example. We should have more open houses so that the Red Church, I mean, you won't find, can I blow this up? Maybe not. You won't find, there we go, a more primitive church, a more beautiful church than the Red Church, I think. Okay, and here's the list. Probably not complete, but if you want to know where your tax dollars have been going, please review. So I, once again, have talked long enough, but suffice it to say, we ended the year in a better place than we started the year, and things look quite good for 25 and 26 because we still have some properties to sell off, and operationally, some of the savings will hit the bottom line in the next couple of years. Any questions, folks? No, you've seen this show before. Okay. All right, let's move on to the second item on the agenda: community choice aggregation update. At last we left. So just to remind folks at home, this is the bulk program, bulk in the sense that it's a opt-out, joined with other municipalities. We're not the only CCA group in New York State. It's a bulk program where we procure a couple of different options: 100% New York State renewable, 50% renewable, or equivalent to what CH offers, or kind of Central Hudson offers. What we sometimes refer to as the dirty energy supply option. When the administrator went out to bid last month, the bids came in, and there was discussion of, because of the timing of the year and the rates that were in place, that maybe we shouldn't, as a group, renew And alternatively, would we consider an extension at the old rates for a period of, say, 3 to 5 months, so we get on a different cycle? And just for the folks at home, typically, and nothing is ever the same, typically these spring months, February and March, are the highest energy supply period. So we'll see in February, I think it was a little over 10 cents for Central Hudson's quote-unquote dirty rate. March number just came out, it's about 12 cents for the March number. And ordinarily, you would start to see that number start to come down as spring progresses, go through the summer. I don't know if you all have been watching the news, but apparently there's this word tariff that's been thrown around, and there is some energy supply coming in from Canada into New York State, the impact of which I don't think anybody could factor in at this point, and that could be, you know, something very temporary and not have any implications for this program. So the question is, would we consider extending at the old rate for 3 to 5 months to get on a different cycle? Or would we consider just letting this contract period run out and then start up again when we see the numbers and know that we want to continue? My concern about the extension for 5 months is that it's at that high rate. That's still not, it's not going to be all that competitive in a typical summer-fall season.
I thought it was going to be at the current rate, which is lower.
12. No, it's this 12. Right, it's that box there, Christine, on the top right, this current CCA rate. Now, this month, that looks fine. It looks, well, it's certainly cleaner, and it looks competitive from a dollar standpoint. The problem is, this is the high time of the year, and
Logistically, what happens if we let the contract expire? I will say, I have been hearing some frustration out in the community about the rates right
The
now,
rates being
relative to Central Hudson.
the beauty of having it fixed is that you know
Right,
what
sure.
you're paying, and you're protected against
Yeah.
that huge spike that happened, say, in March of '23.
Yeah.
The downside is, it's fixed.
Right.
We try to remind people you can drop out at any point. And so, or you can join at any point. So if you want to do that, you know, please go right ahead and do that. But yeah,
So if we were to opt, or to let the contract expire
Yeah.
at this point, then what? What happens to the average utility customer? Do
they revert back to
they
Central
really
Hudson.
automatically just get dumped back to Central Hudson?
They revert back to Central
And
Hudson,
then if
and then
in
we
3
have
months
to.
or 6 months, we have to sort of reinitiate a whole new program?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we start from scratch, but yes, there's a couple of extra steps that we have to go through. But we still have to do that for the 5 months, by the way. There's still a separate mailing that says, your contract has been extended if you would like to opt out, so on and so forth. And when these are renewed, by the way, they don't go to people who have opted out. On the next contract, they go to people who have stayed in, or new people. They don't go to people who have opted out. So that's the dilemma. On the one hand, less options for our residents. On the other hand, it does require them to take a step to get out of it. The demand for renewable energy now far exceeds the supply, which is why they're trying to beef up the programs and the regulatory landscape so that they can get more solar and hydro built. Wind is not moving as fast as they wanted it to in order to comply with the state legislation. Thoughts?
Well, but the last time we discussed it, I was leaning towards, it's, you know, if we extend it, as you said, people can opt out. So it keeps the option open, but it does require the consumer to be up to speed and have to take an action.
Mhm.
Yeah. Given the fact that there's, you know, such a big spread, I'm not sure that it's necessarily in anybody's best interest to stretch it out, just because we just don't know with, you know, all the changes in energy policy and we just don't know that it's gonna be any better in 5 months or 3 months. So I think I'm probably now leaning towards letting it just lapse.
Lapse, and then we see what the numbers are. We can certainly join that. What would be a December start date, probably, go out to bid February +5, July or something, and we can see
Yeah,
what those
is there,
contracts look like.
That it still is basically first come, first served though. People who, because we let it lapse and they did not opt out, don't necessarily get first dibs if we do something again in December. It's still,
They'll be mailed a notice saying that they are going to be moved over to the CCA unless they opt out within 30 days or any ensuing month thereafter. So yes, they
so
will be
we'll get-
mailed.
Oh, okay.
They will
I
be.
misunderstood that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. If you've,
So only
if
if
you've
you-
opted out, you won't get a
Right,
mail
right.
in the previous contract. If you've stayed in, you will get the mailing saying that you've been enrolled
There's a
again.
change.
And if you don't want to stay enrolled, you're
Yeah,
right.
okay. Well, that, I think that makes sense too. There's
Okay,
some
one
lapse.
for lapse.
Yeah, I think that probably makes sense at this time. I think we can always see, you know, what the rates look like
Okay.
later this year. It's
Okay.
unfortunate, I think it's a really valuable program.
Yeah.
I like the way that it's set up, but the prices just aren't where we want them to be right now.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, economically, we'll see where we are. Energy, I mean, it's as if it was hard enough before. Now it's really going to get
Yeah, everything's very volatile. That was it.
Fine with that.
Diplomatic,
Yeah.
everything's very
Yeah,
volatile.
okay. And if we hear something in the next 10 days or 2 weeks, then we'll call a special meeting and rediscuss. Okay.
So we don't need to take any formal action?
Not tonight, no. No, our inaction is the action for
Yeah.
tonight, yeah. Okay, moving on to number 3, resolution to approve letting of the bids. For the folks at home, I'll take this opportunity to, I hope, show you a map. This is St. Margaret's, you're all familiar with St. Margaret's. Is, well, this doesn't want to fit nicely into one screen, but suffice it to say, there's Route 9, there's the existing driveway. And the parking area will be over here. There's the handicap, so a few spaces next to the handicap right up to the building. And then there's an existing garage here now, and then on the other side of the garage will be more parking.
For a total of 15 spots?
I think it was 16, right?
No, it's 15.
15.
15.
Yeah. Yeah, someday we may need more, but for now. Here are some of the specs. That include the ramps, bluestone, lots of fun to look at. This is what the doors look like.
And some of this is coming from a prior year CDBG grant, is that right?
Yeah, on the accessibility. Okay. Any questions? Hearing none. Alex, what resolution are we up to now, number?
22.
22. It is a resolution authorizing the solicitation of bids for St. Margaret's accessibility improvements. I think we should probably title it accessibility and other improvements, other parking improvements in particular. A portion of the project is expected to be paid from the CDBG grant 2023. Now therefore be resolved, the town of Red Hook does hereby authorize and direct the solicitation of bids. Bids will be available to be submitted until April 17th. Can we modify that resolution, Sylvia, so it says 10 a.m. instead of 10 p.m. unless you're willing to come here at 10 p.m.? A little typo there, I think. April 17th. Or such later time and date as determined by the supervisor, provided that such publication shall appear not less than 5 days prior to the date set for bid opening. Who would like to move resolution number 22?
So moved.
Thank you, Christine. Anybody want to second it?
Second.
Thank you, Jacob. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all very much. That is the last major aspect of this project. Counters going in next week in the break room. A little bit of lighting, and then essentially this is it. Very exciting. So hopefully, realistically, June maybe, right? I've been saying a couple of months now for how long?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. We have resolution number 4 to support the establishment of the Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad Byway. So you've received
Scenic byway.
materials, what did I say? Scenic
Scenic
byway.
byway.
Thank you very much. Here's the map.
I tried zooming in, it's really hard to tell where it actually runs into.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is. Shall we ask for a more detailed map?
I mean,
I think so.
Okay.
in general, you know, scenic byways, I think, are a positive thing for the economy. It certainly is a worthy cause.
It looks like Route
you know.
9 to me.
That's what, that was my
Yeah.
best guess, yeah.
Looks like Route 9 to me. And I think that the authorization they had from the state would include that, the exact location, but it looks like Route 9 as well. Mayor Bassett and Rhinebeck is eager to show off. You know, they have little sections of the Underground Railroad that are still intact, and so he's very eager to have an opportunity to highlight that. Did you all have any questions about this? You see how extensive it is.
Yeah, just, unless I missed it, but I was, it's a scenic byway, so we should focus on limiting outdoor advertising and, so it'd be good to have a little more detail and also the width that we would be working with it for the signage.
For the signage restrictions or for their
Restrictions.
signage? Okay.
Restrictions.
There were materials that said it had no impact on the neighboring property owners.
I think it's
So did you
within,
take that
everything's
to be
within
only
DOT.
within the DOT
Right,
right
yes.
of way, as
Mhm.
clear as that
Yeah.
that was
That was how I
Yeah.
interpreted it.
Okay.
Yeah.
He said he had other-
I mean, think about it. It prohibits the construction of new off-premise advertising signs along the designated scenic byway. So no billboards in town. We don't allow them anyway, but this would codify that. Unless somebody's aching to have a billboard, Bill.
Why would I want to do
Yeah.
it? Just because it's part of my name.
Just saying. 550 miles. This is a letter of support. And this is the draft resolution that they have prepared.
Does any of it overlap with the Empire Trail?
I think we need a better map to figure it out.
To figure that out. I mean, yeah, I'm just thinking about it in
Yeah,
terms
at least for us.
I don't think so, no, because the Empire Trail goes over west.
That's right.
River Road.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
through Bard and then to
Mhm.
Williams, right?
So there's no deadline on this?
This month. Is the
So we have
deadline.
another
We could do,
meeting,
yes.
so we could ask for a better map.
We could ask for a better map, and we can pass it at our next meeting if you like.
Right, so that there's no
Is that the
deadline that we have to
preference?
do it tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would feel more comfortable with that.
okay. Confirmation it's Route 9. But otherwise, support it? Yeah?
Yeah.
Has Historic Red Hook been made aware of this at all? I don't know if we have anything that we.
I
would
did
choose
mention it
feature
to
here
a
in
couple
town.
of them, yeah. And draft sample letters. Okay, so next meeting we'll pass the resolution, assuming the map agrees. So we had a long list of surplus equipment coming out of highway. One of the pieces the village of Tivoli saw or knew about, which was the chipper, the wood chipper, the old wood chipper, because we have a new one here in town. And so they asked if we could sell it to them. And obviously that is our village within our township, so that'd be preferable. Of course, it's always with a piece of equipment that is that old, it's always hard to get an exact amount, but, you know, we surveyed what comparables were being offered. 3,000 would certainly be sort of the top of what that could fetch. You know, my only point, I think I tried to make to Teresa, was that I thought that it would make sense for us if we could reserve the possibility, should we ever need it, where we need to have a few chippers running, I think in terms of a bad storm or whatever cleanup. If we could then use it, then we'd also be able to sell it to Tivoli at less than $3,000 amount and have a backup that hopefully we'll never need, but would at least be a possibility, because we do have an IMA with the village, you know, to share equipment. My inclination would be to sell it less than $3,000. We do have a resolution for that, and request that should we need it and they don't, that they loan it to us.
I hear what you're saying. Well, I hear what you're saying,
Yeah,
but,
no?
I don't know, I mean, given its age, you know, I think, and I'd hate to have us be borrowing it, and that's when it
And that's when it
dies
falls
or
out.
whatever, right?
Well, also,
And then we'd be responsible for that.
For the, yeah.
if there was such a major storm,
They're
I
gonna
think,
have to do
I
it.
can't imagine that they're not gonna need it.
Right.
Well, they're this big, these cute villages of ours, you know, and
Well, we've had a
typically they
couple of
don't.
storms recently where things were worse here than they were in the village typically, but
Yeah,
nonetheless, I think it's at an age
Particularly
where we
that's
might
true,
just
it's
want to
rough.
say,
a
let's just
basta,
sell it and be done.
okay, all right,
I mean, you know,
that's,
we all try to cooperate, so I'm sure if it was a possibility, the village would be open to
okay.
perhaps lending it to us in an emergency, but.
Others, what is our liaison to the highway department think?
I mean, I think that, as has been said, I think that we have a sort of relationship with the village that
If
if
we did need
if there
it.
were a need and they didn't have the same need at the same time,
Okay,
I'd be surprised if
okay.
it were a problem.
This side of the bench likes the idea, okay.
Seems fine.
Great. All right, without further ado, resolution number 23, approving the sale of surplus, I can't speak tonight.
I have noticed that.
Sounds normal.
I had 5 minutes for 2 slices of Ben's pizza, and I think it's all right here. Resolution 23 dated March 11, 2025, authorizing the sale of wood chipper by the town board of the town of Red Hook. Determined that I'll say it with a straight face, that the 1994 wood chipper unneeded and has recommended disposition, this is our highway superintendent, disposition of the equipment in the manner set forth herein for the purchase price of $3,000, which Tilly has agreed to, and I so move. Who would like to second? Jacob? That's the liaison. Thank you very much. Further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Bill, you want to lead the next item agenda?
If you wish. The last item on the agenda is, as we've said in the past, the Dutchess County SPCA last year notified us of the termination of providing dog control or any kind of animal control services to any of the municipalities in the county. They serviced many municipalities, and it left municipalities in a bit of a bind. So we have partnered with Rhinebeck. We had previously approved a IMA with Rhinebeck where they established a kennel, because the dog control services don't just include going out and getting a dog, but you have to kennel and sometimes quarantine those dogs for periods of time to make sure they're not rabid if they bite somebody, and then they go out for adoption at some point if they don't get returned to the owner. So we previously had established an IMA for the use of their kennel, and we pay them a stipend for that. And but we both were in need of dog control personnel, and so identified 2 individuals who live in Rhinecliff, who we can appoint because we do it jointly. And the model of having a primary and a deputy is pretty common. In fact, Rhinebeck had previously had such an agreement. They had a longtime dog control officer who passed away, and they were cobbling by with a deputy who then they lost. So we've agreed to work with them to appoint 2 individuals who have agreed to do this for a stipend. And the one thing the public should know is that, and if you go to our website, it says animal control. When SPCA provided the service, it provided all animals. So, you know, if someone complained that there was a skunk in their yard, or raccoons in their attic, all kinds of wildlife issues, especially feral cats, they dealt with that. This is just for dog control, because under New York State law and the ag and market law, if a municipality provides dog licenses, and we do, and so does Rhinebeck, they have to have dog control. And so the individual we are appointing will not be doing the other animal control. They will only be dealing with dogs. And their numbers will be posted on our website. And the other reason that you have a primary and a deputy is so you always have coverage. Because in my experience being on the board here now, it always seems to happen like on a long holiday weekend.
Right.
Yeah, that a dog gets picked up somewhere. So you want to make sure you have appropriate coverage and a facility, which we now have. And then the people from the state ag and markets will come down and they provide an orientation type of training for new people, and so they get an understanding what the expectations are with respect to dog handling, and more importantly, the paperwork that has to be done on a regular basis and filed with ag and markets. So I am relieved that we have identified 2 people who are real dog lovers and they're real, animal people, and that they live close by. The other issue that we had with SPCA was they were in Hyde Park. And at one point, they reduced their services only to business hours during the week. So we were paying about $11,000 a year for services which we really weren't getting the 24/7 that we would expect. And so in this instance, we're going to be providing a stipend of $6,000 a year per person. So it's about what we paid before to have, I think, a much better level of coverage and service for the dogs. And I can attest to being the animal control liaison during my time with dealing with the SPCA, and I got their monthly reports. For what we were paying, I kind of felt like when they reduced the services and kept the price the same,
You weren't getting good value.
I didn't think we were. So, and they were far, and sometimes, it took them a long time to get up, up to the village if there was an issue with the dog. And then what we will do is have, the village police is generally the first responder, often with loose dogs. And so they will obviously coordinate, we'll have their numbers, and if they get the call that there's a dog running around, it's a traffic hazard, they'll probably be the first responders and call one of the dog control people to come and pick it up. And I would say also now with the internet, there are a number of Facebook groups and others that often you don't have to intern a dog. And Robert knows this all too well, because Robert actually served as the dog control officer one night.
We left 3 meetings.
He's been 3 meetings.
We left here at 11, I left here at 11 something, and driving up Route 9 in 6-degree weather is this
Yeah.
little terrier in the
That-
middle of Route 9.
Yeah, so
Crossing,
near the war memorial, right?
yeah, exactly, and somehow managed to get it, and then found the owner at about 3:30 in the morning, and
But I think.
yeah, I'm glad we have dog control officers now. That wasn't on my bingo card for the
That's
rest
right.
of the night.
So I think it's going to work out well, and
Yeah.
I'm happy that, and they're local people, which I think is important. They know the community well. They've been here for a long time. One of the 2 that we're appointing actually owns the restaurant whose name, not the restaurant, the
store.
the store,
Locavore.
the Locavore here in Red Hook, and also the other one that's in Rhine Cliff, what's it called? I've never
I don't
been
know
there. I've
Rhine
driven,
Cliff
but it's near the train station. So,
They don't let me out of Red Hook.
yeah, it's a danger to the community.
Good, yeah, exactly.
So we have this draft resolution, the names aren't on there.
Let's pluralize.
Yeah. Let's say dog control officers.
Okay, and then joint appointment with the town of Rhinebeck of,
It's Leslie Hill, Leslie, and
Yeah.
the last name is Hill, Hill, and Patricia Wind, Wind.
as animal control officers, to serve as dog control officers for the town of Red Hook. And that's it. And,
So
yeah.
we're just gonna, Mr. Supervisor,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna suggest that we, just for clarity, let's just do this as two separate paragraphs that are in parallel.
Okay,
So we'll fill out the first one with Leslie,
okay,
and then we'll
Do a second.
copy that and
Okay.
fill it out for deputy.
Okay.
Sure.
Towards deputy.
for Patricia.
For Patricia.
Right,
Okay.
That's fine.
sounds good. With those modifications,
I'd like to make the motion.
resolution number 24 is
24.
amended.
Is there a second?
Oh, boy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. How many seconds can we have for the motion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very good. Any other business tonight? I don't think Doge is coming to visit us because we've been very efficient with both the taxpayer dollars. Hopefully you've seen that. And also with tonight's meeting, it was less than an hour. We do have to go into an attorney-client session. But before we do, any public comments? Any questions, anybody? Okay, I want to wish you happy St. Patrick's Day. Stay healthy, enjoy the beautiful weather out there, and we hope to see you soon. Thanks very much. At this time, a motion to go into attorney-client.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Good night, everyone.
Good night.